We play and call it work.
Hey there folks, Josh here from MiniWarGaming.com to bring you some exciting news. A couple months back, I had the opportunity to meet Terrace from Geek Nation Tours, and recently I have been recruited to attend his Miniatures in Nottingham 2019 tour. For those unfamiliar with Geek Nation Tours, you can check out the link below to get the full information, but to give you the gist of what Terrace does with his company is he is a self-proclaimed geek, so he runs different tours, whether you're a history geek, a music geek, a gaming geek like myself. He builds custom tours for those that want to go check out and learn more about their favorite hobbies. Enough of all that. If you want a little bit more information about Terrace and Geek Nation Tours, check out the link below. I want to focus on the Miniatures in Nottingham 2019 tour, which is the one that you folks will have the chance to tag along with me on. Now, I'm going to be hitting some of the key points for this 9-day tour taking part April 5th to 13th, but if you're tired of listening to me ramble, you can go ahead and check out the link below, which will give you the full itinerary. Day one is going to start off nice and simple. We're all going to be arriving in good old London, England. This is the chance for everybody to get in town. If you want to do some of the tourist thing on your own, this is the opportunity to do so. And we are going to be meeting up for the traditional welcome dinner, where myself and Terrace will be going over everything in detail that will be coming up for the rest of the tour. Day two is where the tour properly kicks off. Our merry band of adventurers will be attending Salute 2019. Salute is the biggest independent one-day wargaming / gaming event. So you're going to have opportunity to go over there, soak in the convention, take part in events, and unique opportunity for those outside the UK. There are a ton of smaller gaming companies making a bunch of really cool stuff that you don't really get to encounter unless you're a local. Day three will see us starting at the Imperial War Museum. For those historically minded, there's a ton of cool stuff to see, and even if you're not much into history but into wargaming, there'll be a lot of sites to soak in. From there, we're going to go to Darksphere, which is a huge gaming store, big collection of tables, terrain, products to buy. So after we're finished up there, we move over to Forbidden Planet, which is one of the world's largest and best known science fiction, fantasy, and cult entertainment retailers. And at the end of the day, we're going to start the narrative gaming, which is going to be run by myself. So we will be doing a MiniWarGaming 40K narrative campaign that will affect the MiniWarGaming narrative universe. Day four, we're going to kick things up another notch. We're going to start the day off at Battlefront Miniatures. For all those folks that are familiar with the company, this is a huge opportunity, and for those not familiar with Battlefront, if you've heard me go on about Flames of War, Team Yankee, Gale Force 9, all that stuff, that's these guys. So we're going to be attending their office, getting a tour around, and getting the chance to get a little bit of shopping in. From there, we're going to move over to Warlord Games head office, and we're going to have none other than Mr. John Stollard himself giving us a tour around the facility, showing us what's what, and soaking in all of the awesome games that they make. If you're not super familiar with Warlord, you might recognize names like Bolt Action, Conflicts 47, Gates of Antares. They make a ton of different super cool games. Once we've finished up at Warlord, we're going to end the day at the Luterati Gaming Cafe. Those not familiar, they have more than 750 board games on the shelves, so we'll get the chance to sit down, chillax, and get some more gaming in. Day five, we will be keeping up the momentum, and even though we've already hit a bunch of really exciting things, this is where some of the more seasoned wargamers, shall we say, will get some super unique opportunities. We're going to start off with actually visiting the Perry twins. If you guys have been in the hobby, you are super familiar with who they are, because chances are they've had a hand in sculpting pretty much anything you've been involved with. And instead of just meeting up with them somewhere, they've actually graciously invited us to their house to check out their collections of both historical memorabilia as well as all of their gaming stuff. This is one of the parts where I'm really starting to fanboy out, because these are some of the names that I recognize from when I got into the hobby, and I can only assume you folks will be just as excited as I am. Once we finished up hanging out with the Perry twins, we are going to head over to Mantic Games head office. They're the makers of games such as Dead Zone, Dreadball, Kings of War, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to get a tour of their entire facilities, and that is going to be run by none other than the King Kahuna of Mantic War Games, Ronnie Renton. finishing up at Mantic headquarters, we're going to head off to the Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem pub. Now, that is the oldest inn in England, established in 1189. This will be the chance for us to sit down, enjoy some dinner, as well be joined by a few different guests. So, Mr. John Stollard and Mr. Ronnie Renton have agreed to join us there for dinner. And in the past, because this isn't the first time this tour has run, there's been a couple other wargaming celebrities that have dropped by. Can't make any promises, but some of the names to throw out that have attended in the past: Jervis Johnson, Andy Chambers, Alessio Cavorte, Rick Priestley, all huge names in the wargaming industry. And this will be the chance to sit down and have some one-on-one talk, listen to some stories, and learn a little bit more about our favorite hobby. You can't have a wargaming tour in the UK without going to Warhammer World. So Games Workshop, the titan of the industry, we're going to be visiting their headquarters. Now, they have got some unique shopping opportunities on site, but I'm a little bit more excited for the exhibition hall. We're going to get to see all the different heavy metal painted miniatures, as well as their huge collection of big, giant, intricate dioramas. So we've got a whole 12 hours blocked off to be hanging out there, gaming, getting some lunch at Bugman's Brewery, and just soaking in everything that is Games Workshop. For those that are a little bit more historically minded when it comes to gaming, instead of hanging out with us at Warhammer World while we continue our narrative, we've also been invited to the house of Warlord's mighty John Stollard to go over and throw some dice in a historical setting. Day 7, even though we are starting to wind down to the end of the trip, we're not slowing down at all. We will be attending Wargames Foundry. So for those that have been into the hobby for quite a time and that are interested in the history of the hobby, this is pretty much where it all started. We are going to be given a tour of their factory workshop and watch a live casting demonstration. Tour is going to be led by one of the members of the Ansel family. If you're familiar with wargaming as a hobby, Brian Ansel is a huge name. So whether Brian or one of the members of his family, they're going to show us what they do here at Wargames Foundry. We're going to see the collection of Games Workshop original art and the massive collection of miniatures that they have on site. Of course, a trip to Wargames Foundry wouldn't be complete with getting some gaming in on site, so they have graciously opened up their gaming space so we can continue with our campaign as well as any other games you folks want to be playing. Day 8 is going to be our last full day in the UK. We're going to be traveling back from Nottingham to London. We will get the chance to get some last minute shopping and gaming in before we start our travels, and then of course when we get back to London we're going to get some more gaming in, and this will see us wrapping up the 40k narrative campaign. Day 9 of the tour will see some of us departing, but for those that haven't had enough, there's actually a 4-day extension to this trip. So if you're not flying back home, you can accompany Terrace up north, where you're going to be going to Hadrian's Wall for a couple days, checking out some of the historical sites, some of the old Roman forts, as well as you're going to spend a day in the historic walled city of York. Terrace is an absolute master at taking care of all the small details and have made this trip as easy as possible to take part in. All you need to do is worry about getting yourself to London, to the hotel, taking part, having a ton of fun, and at the end of it all, getting yourself back home. This whole trip is a super cool, super unique chance to fully immerse yourself in the hobby that we all love. So I highly encourage you folks to check out the link below. There is limited space. Terrace has limited this tour to 20 folks because we want to make sure everybody gets the chance to have as much fun as possible. I hope to see some of you MiniWarGaming fans out taking part in what will be the first of many collaborations between MiniWarGaming and Geek Nation Tours. If you have any questions, feel free to either contact myself at josh@miniwargaming.com or Terrace at headgeek@geeknationtours.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Keep being awesome, and as always, happy wargaming.